What if I told you backhand blades were balanced? You'd probably call me crazy and lock me in a room. A rubber room filled with rats. And I really wouldn't blame you. But instead, what if I told you backhand blades were mostly balanced? I've just spent over 100 hours exploring the frame data, dissecting their code, and creating the most mathematically optimal They're broken. Ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Their Ash's Swift Slash and Blind Spot were absurdly broken, and anyone with half a brain could completely steamroll an entire squad in a matter of seconds just by mashing their face into the L2 button.
And I'm just gonna mash L2 with my face. There you go.
So yeah, the Ash is busted, but I'm talking about the weapon itself. And I know this might be hard to believe, but backhand blades have more of a moveset than just their L2 button.
There you go.
Backhand blades are an incredibly interesting and dynamic setup where both the two-handed version and their power stance version have unique benefits and drawbacks, making switching between these two modes an integral part of using the setup. So in this video, I'll cover what makes backhand blades so strong, how you can use them, and how you can play against them. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you found this information helpful at all, or if you're just more confused than ever. So, you remember Great Spears? Yeah. The main highlight of backhand blades, aside from their Ashes of War, is their crouch attack. This attack shares the same animation as power stance daggers, coming out on frame 11. The animation looks the same whether you're two-handing or power stanced, but with some subtle but significant differences. The two-handed version deals 145 poise damage, where the power stance version only does 132, meaning that someone with max poise won't be stunned by this attack. This inherently makes the two-handed version optimal against opponents with max poise. But where the power stance version lacks in poise damage, it makes up for in its recovery, having faster recovery into a roll or a follow-up attack. In addition to that, the damage on the power stance crouch attack is bugged. Back in patch 1.12, the damage of all power stance attacks was reduced by 10%. This is true for every part of the backhand blades moveset except for specifically the power stance rolling attack. The follow-up R1 of the two-handed moveset is kind of ass, and if someone just mashes out a hit stun, then the second blade won't come out fast enough to stop them. But if you're using the power stance version, then the follow-up R1 has a lot of benefits, being able to prevent a mash and keep up pressure if the opponent has less than 110 poise. If they have over 110 poise, then this is still a very reliable follow-up, allowing you to chip their poise and set them up for a combo. Alternatively, if you crouch cancel straight into another crouch attack, then you can always at least force a trade with the opponent if they mash out a hit stun, or delay the timing for a roll catch if they try and roll away. But your safest option is to break away, outspace the attempted mash, and punish it. The standing L1 is very similar to that of Twin Blades, but with different poise damage. The attack comes out in staggered hits, where the first part of the L1 comes out at frame 11, only doing 27 poise damage, and the second hit comes out much later on frame 18 with 110 poise damage. Having your poise damage being backloaded like this is generally a bad thing, but it allows for an easy mix-up from your regular one-handed R1. This is where we start getting into poise counting. Poise counting is a complicated subject, and I go into it in good detail in this video, so if you're not familiar with it, then I recommend that you check it out. With your poise damage being divided between the two weapons, you'll often leave your opponent with chipped poise, either through half hits from your crouch attack, or from the staggered attacks of your attack chain. After chipping your opponent's poise, it opens up the opportunity for a safe poise break from things that normally do low poise damage, like your running attacks. The running R1 and the power stance L1 are, well, they're weird. They have ridiculous forward momentum that has zero recovery, but horrible tracking. It only does 27 poise damage on the first hit and 110 on the second, but if you have the opponent's poise chipped prior to this attack, then it flows really well into the rest of your attack chain. But what's really funny is the two-handed running R1 and the power stance L1 will move you faster than you do when you're sprinting. If you alternate between the two movesets using handy tech between each attack, then you're able to maintain your full momentum. Is this useful? Not really, unless you're trying to catch a marathon runner in the lakes of Liurnia. but the running R2. The two-handed running R2 is a fucking nuke. It only does 55 poise damage on the first hit, but coming out on frame 12, it's nearly unreactable, and the second hit is a guaranteed poise break. If they try and roll the unreactable first hit, then the second is likely to roll catch. Assuming the opponent has high poise, the best way to set this up is by chipping the opponent's poise either with a half hit from your crouch attack, or follow up R1 with the power stance moveset, putting them in range of being staggered by the first part of the running R2, which will then combo into the second. So, how do you play against it? The best way to prepare to fight Backhand Blades is by running over 110 poise and being on top of your poise counting. By having over 110 poise, you won't be stunned by the second part of the standing R1s or the running R1s. So as long as you can outspace the first hit, then you can trade into the second swing and take priority. After the nerfs, Swift Slash had its range reduced, and the AoE hitbox no longer does poise damage, making it a lot easier to deal with than it was before. But it's still a pain in the ass to try and punish without taking a bunch of chip damage in the process. You can try and rely on good spacing and outplay the opponent, but if you mess up, then you're likely to get smacked for a shitload of damage. Your best bet is to use a shield poke setup, but even then, the stamina damage is really high, so you have to pick and choose your opportunities to go for the poke. Blind Spot is a different thing entirely. This shit's ridiculous. They reduced the iframes given toward the end of the animation, but this didn't fix the problem in the slightest. Its strength has always been its ability to punish attacks on reaction, bringing new meaning to the old phrase, attack first, lose first. So we experimented with this, and tested what it would be like if Blind Spot had no iframes at all. In short, it's still broken. But at least the Blind Spot Shtyr would have to press a button on prediction instead of on reaction, meaning you at least need one brain cell in order to make it function. People have theorized things like Stormcaller or Storm Stomp as ways of dealing with them, but while most Blind Spot Shtyrs don't have a single brain cell, for those that do, gimmicks like AoE Ashes of War just aren't going to work. Even then, if we look at something like Storm Stomp, it's never a good answer. Normally, Storm Stomp is used to set up a true combo into another attack, such as either an R2 from a Claymore or L1 with straight swords. However, Blind Spot falls into the category of Fast Ashes, meaning that it functions as an early recovery cancel and can be used to escape a true combo. So, if they just press L2 again, which they will, then they'll avoid your true combo and stab you in the neck. So overall, you're better off on just relying on good fundamentals rather than trying to outcheese the opponent. The toughest matchup for Backhand Blades is against two-handed Thrusting Sword. Shtyr doesn't have as good of a matchup since its backswing isn't guaranteed to be safe against mash, meaning that a Thrusting Sword has every advantage. But basically, your goal is to play Keep Out and look for an opportunity to punish the opponent on bad spacing. It's not safe to play aggressive since they could always just blind spot on reaction, but even if they do, the recovery from a Thrusting Sword is fast enough to get you away from it. You can make this setup even safer by putting Quickstep on it, allowing you to cancel the recovery of your attacks and avoid the potential blind spot. Backhand Blades are an incredibly strong weapon, and they're a lot of fun to use. Their fast attack speeds and excellent mobility make gameplay super engaging and fun, but unfortunately, they've been permanently branded as a toxic setup due to how fucking broken Blind Spot and Swift Slash are. If it weren't for these ashes, I feel like the overall opinion of these weapons would be a lot more positive. They're definitely not balanced, with Blind Spot still being a problem, and their crouch attacks being quite overtuned. But if you're trying to use them without good fundamentals, then you're gonna get rolled. I think that if their crouch attack got a damage and speed nerf, and if Blind Spot had its iframes removed, then it would sit in a very good place, but still being able to have its own niche. Using them can really improve your fundamentals, since their short range and lack of hyper armor require you to have good spacing and well-timed punishes. With proper poise counting, every part of the moveset becomes a viable tool, allowing you to mix up your attacks, swap between movesets, and have a more dynamic and engaging fights. So give them a shot. That's going to do it for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.